Yeah, I'm going to toot your horn a bunch today.
Thank you. I know, man. I should have done this sooner.
The FAC president. Well, you need a little confidence, you need a little boost. Well, you don't earn the Mark of Excellence Award unless that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, only 7 gyms got it in the nation last year, and you were one of them.
Sometimes, you see all those memes that are joking about, oh, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I didn't have to work 9 to 5, and now I work like 4 to 9. It's like, okay, I'm lifting heavier than they are, or are they looking at me because I'm not lifting heavy enough? And that has never once been a principle of Burn. And that's what makes us so very unique, because we all want to just level ourselves up and each other up instead of just caring about myself. I came to Burn U when I purchased the gym, and I asked Morgan this specific question. I literally asked her,
Burn Nation, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Today I have a very special guest for you here. What episode are we on, Chels? What episode are we on? Shout it out. Let me know. Let me know what episode we're on. I forgot what episode we're on today, but we have an amazing episode for you today. I have franchise partner extraordinaire, great friend of mine, president of the Franchise Advisory Council, the owner of we just affirmed this, the second largest gym in Burn Nation in 2025. Her name is Melanie Skinner. Melanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait. You are such a good talker. You're such a good storyteller.
I was going to say, we could be here for hours.
We could be here for
sorry,
hours.
Guys.
So you guys are going to go on a ride today. Melanie's full of just wisdom and spirit and energy. Such a great leader, not only to her members, but also to her team. I would say probably, one thing that I've noticed about you is that you're such a great leader for a team of people that are pouring into your members, and you just pour into those, 10 or 12 or 13 people like crazy. Every time I'm up visiting you in Ashburn, outside of DC, your team gets closer and closer and closer. You're the picture of what a great leader is, a hands-on leader is. And I'm going to toot your horn a bunch today.
Thank you. I know, man. I should have done this sooner.
The FAC president. Well, you need a little confidence, you need a little boost. FAC president. Well, why don't you take an opportunity to explain what that is real quick?
Yeah, so the FAC is really a bridge between franchise partners who are on the ground and then our headquarters staff. So we meet monthly on Zoom and then quarterly in person. And honestly, it's just a lot of candid conversations that we have about the future of the business, where the business is going, what we can learn about, maybe some takeaways from previous experiences that maybe didn't work so well. How can we make sure that we don't repeat those, and how can we improve on them moving forward? So we talk everything from new equipment, which is super exciting, to challenges that we do. Did they work? Did our members like them? Upcoming nutrition releases. Again, do we think our members are going to like them? How many, what's the cadence of that? And so it's a really good opportunity. There's 8 of us on the board. We represent a really wide range of franchises in terms of I own 1 and Scott owns 14. So Scott and I will have different views. We have a franchise partner on the West Coast, and they have different challenges than maybe we do on the East Coast. So it's a really good, diverse group of people where the goal ultimately is to make all of our franchises, our franchise partners, and HQ as a whole, our system grow and, as you would say, to the moon.
Yeah. Well, it's such an important piece to what we do, because it's the representative democracy of the franchise system, yep. Right? And as we grow, it's so important to have those franchise partners who are representing like regions or cohorts of different demographics of the country. And we got a meeting over the next 2 days, and yes. That's why you came into town. And I'm really excited for that, because what we get to do is, as you just explained, is focus on how to make members' lives better.
Yeah.
And that's exciting for us.
And, that starts from such a small piece of things that we talk about. And what's so fun for us is we talk about things a year, sometimes in advance. And then now that we're here seeing these things into fruition, it's so rewarding as franchise partners to say, like, we had a say in this. We made this a success. We brought forth issues that we are hearing from other franchise partners that maybe I'm not specifically in Ashburn feeling, but there are franchise partners around the system that are having specific issues, and we're able to bring them forward and start addressing them before it becomes widespread.
Yeah, for sure. And that's so important because that keeps us on a straight and parallel path. And so before we kind of get further into this, because we have so much to talk about, let's just pull up and give me like a quick bio, just so everybody can get to know you, where you come from, your background, why you think the way that you think, and your foundation for living in your philosophy.
Yeah, so I think a really big part of my leadership, personality, drive all comes from being a gymnast my entire life, including through college. My University of Arizona is where I went, and we just celebrated 50 years of women's gymnastics there, which is super exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think just, I moved around a lot as a child. My family is very heavily involved in sports, so I've just always had a very driven sports attitude. And as you can imagine, as a former gymnast, like perfection is ultimately always my goal. I have had to adjust that, especially as a business owner. Perfection is impossible, but I'm really big on accountability for myself. And I think my team sees that I held myself accountable first and foremost, and then it's easier to hold themselves accountable and for me to hold them accountable. But I started as a member 7+ years ago at Ashburn. I had my first son, and I was looking for a place just to find myself again, get back to 45 minutes of myself. You've heard this story so much because there's so many people similar to me. And have had friends for 7+ years, best friends I met at the gym. And then a couple years ago, my husband is an entrepreneur as well. He owns another franchise now too, and 3, I guess, including Burn. And he encouraged me, hey, would you ever be interested in owning one and running a Burn? And yeah, I think so. I don't know. That wasn't my background necessarily. And he just really pushed me towards it. And it just was a perfect alignment of the stars because the franchise partner at Ashburn previously, Lindsay Treadway, she was looking to sell. And it's been a really amazing experience with a lot of hard work and a lot of lessons learned about myself, about, leadership. Absolutely. It's something there's so many of us franchise partners, we're constantly what books can we read to learn how to be a better leader? Because, I have 36 female employees, and I always say
I way underestimated, didn't I? I said 10 or 13.
I have, and it's amazing. I see so much of what I learned of being a team leader in a sport that has translated now into business. And I always say, as a gymnast, I was not the most naturally gifted at all, but I was the hardest worker. And I will still say the same about owning a business. What you put into it, you do get out of it. And sometimes, you see all those memes that are joking about, oh, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I didn't have to work 9 to 5, and now I work 4 to 9. It's so true, I go to the gym at 4:30, or I'm answering emails sometimes at 4 a.m. because that's what works for my schedule, so that then I can still be a very involved parent now to 2 very rambunctious, busy boys.
Yeah, because you guys have a growing family, growing businesses, and there's this, I don't know, tell me if you think that I'm wrong, but what I observe is this societal ultimatum that kind of is just in the air. And it's nobody tells you what you can and can't do. It's kind of in the air, and it says, hey, either build the family or build the business, one or the other, because you can't do both. Yeah. And what's inspiring about you is the actions that you've taken in your life, both you and your husband. You guys have broken down the walls between those two things. And it seems like the business creates the, how would you say, inspiration or purpose for the family, which then pours back into the business. And it's just this flywheel.
It's such a balancing act, really. Because, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I very much underestimated the stress that my husband carried running and taking care of the family. And now he sees the flip side of now running a business and taking care of the kids while I'm down here or at Summit or at another event. And so it's been such an eye-opening experience for both of us. Such a good part of our marriage is just, you have more understanding of what the other person's constantly going through, because I wake up every morning and check our numbers. In my head, every morning, the floor could fall out, Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I just never want to take for granted how far we've taken the business to then not work on it constantly.
Yeah, I think the term anxiety or worry is overblown a little bit.
Yeah.
I think there should be a healthy level. What I hear you saying is there is a healthy level of worry, like when you wake up in the morning. I think we talked about this last episode or something. This same quote came up by John Locke, and he's like a late 1600s philosopher, and he said, "What worries you masters you."
Yeah.
So it's like as long as you don't let worry cascade into anxiety, and that anxiety becomes like paralyzing where you don't take action.
Yeah.
Then the healthy level of like, hey, things could go wrong.
Yeah.
Because if left unattended, what happens?
Correct.
They do go wrong.
I think
The weeds take over.
If I go a few days without knowing just what the pulse, it's just like a pulse of, you want to take a pulse of the business. Okay, we're tracking, we're where we think we are. Oh, maybe we need to do something, make a little small change for the month to make sure that we're hitting those goals. I'm a very numbers-driven person. I love nothing more than to see people succeed inside of our four walls. And by doing that, I want to pay my trainers as much as I possibly can. I want to reward my staff for all of the hard work that they put into that. But with that comes the business side of the of the business, really.
Right. And so how do you go about, from in your worldview, how you kind of move and shake every day? How do you go about that harmony between raising children and raising a business at the same time, and maybe some just words of wisdom around being a mom and being an entrepreneur and, doing it all is like kind of the cliche thing that you hear, but there's nuance to that. I see you doing it all. I know you and Holly talk like every day. She's been on the pod many times over the years, and she's the Naples, Florida owner, her and her husband, Justin, and you guys, you guys are the top 2 gyms in the country, yet you're so dedicated to your family and growing your children at the same time. So, that's a hard thing to do, and people admire you because of that. And oftentimes when there's admiration, you get this kind of like superhuman persona put on you, like, oh, well, she can do it because that's Mel, like, or he can do it because that's DK, like. But actually how it starts is like, for me, it's just taking action and have a bias towards action, just figuring it out along the way. Well, how does it work for you?
Yeah, I remember I came to Burn U when I purchased the gym, and I asked Morgan this specific question. I literally asked her because that was one of my concerns. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 6 years. So I just thought to myself, I want my kids to still have me at every baseball game that they possibly can, and basketball championship, lacrosse practice. I want to do that. But I also want to feed this like slow burning fire inside of me to do more than that. Not that that's not enough. There just was like a pull in my heart to do both. And so I remember asking her this, and she's like, you don't do it both at the same time perfectly. Like, there are days that you are 80% mom, 20% business owner. And then there are days that you're 20% mom and 80% business owner. And I thought that was such good advice, just to give yourself the grace that you're not going to be able, we drop the ball often. And I'm the first, I think it's really important as a leader to admit when you do drop the ball. And I try to be very on top of things, but ultimately certain things sometimes do fall through the cracks. And same with parenting. Sometimes I'm like, well, I signed up for oranges today and I didn't grab them. So now I'm doing Uber Eats of snacks to baseball, and so I think just giving yourself that grace, but also...
That sounded like a real story, by the way.
Oh, it's like recent.
Shoot, I thought I was scheduled on the...
Recent. Or like, the boys would be like, oh, I wanted to make a sign for Field's basketball game today. Did you get, poster board? And you're like, sure didn't, but I bet we could have it here in 45 to 60 minutes, Right. And so I think just giving yourself the understanding that you can't be 100% in both at the same time. You only have 100% to give. And so sometimes, like when I'm here, it's 100% business. Mm-hmm. And I really love to be able to do that. And I know that my husband is handling everything back at home and got everything locked down so then I can really focus. And then when I go back, there's a few days of lag where I'm like, all right, I want to spend extra time with the kids so that I can do that.
How does that conversation work with you and your husband when you guys, because you're both entrepreneurs, right? And that adds the extra complexity to it because anybody who is entrepreneurial knows that in a family of entrepreneurs, you are not working 9 to 5. You are working 9 to 9. That's 9 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And you need to be available. And so how do, the communication between you two has to be really good. And I was wondering if you could maybe give us an inside look at how that communication looks and ultimately like how do you breach that conversation and how do you let's go right at it, like especially as he had his routine and he was an entrepreneur and you were a stay-at-home mom and now you're an entrepreneur and then you step up through his encouragement and you want that shakes the dynamic of the family, at least initially, until you figured out how that happened. How'd you figure it out?
I mean, trial and error. Lots of conversations, just constant conversations. I mean, I'm an over communicator likely, and he would agree with that. And maybe he's probably a baseline communicator. So we just try to in passing, make sure, I do rely on my family lives in Texas and my mom will come up sometimes when we have things to make sure that there's, during tax season, this is a very busy time of year. And that means he puts the kids to bed at 7 and he works until whenever
the job's done.
Yeah. And it's, as you know, never done.
Yeah.
There's unfortunately always emails.
Or if it is, then it's how could it be done better next time?
Yeah. And if it is, you're immediately. Should I be concerned? Where's all the business?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just really constant communication and giving each other, again, you'll hear me say this a lot, giving each other grace through it, because when he's gone, for me personally, it's best if we just try to just check in texting, because then the boys miss him and it just spirals, as I know that with Morgan too. And you guys, switching off, especially with the Proud Tour and everything, it's just one person has to kind of give up a little bit at that time to then balance it out.
One thing I hear Morgan saying often that I've really picked this up from her, we're just hearing her talk, moms who are franchise partners asking her questions in that setting. One thing that she says that I think is really useful, and I use it all the time, is ask your children what is important to them first, rather than I would do this thing where with my daughter's dance, Cam's a dancer, right?
Yeah.
She's getting really good, by the way. And I'm the dad that wants to, same as you, I want to be there for everything. And so I'm I'll drop this to do that. I'll be there. And I'm making all these plans in the background. And then I go to Cameron, right? And I go up to Cam, I'm like, babe, guess what? Me, this guy, Dad, he's going to be at your dance this weekend. How's that? She's like, oh, Daddy, I don't want you there anyway. This is just a showcase warm up.
Yeah,
I want
not that big of a deal.
I want you seeing the national championships. Yeah. And so if I would have just asked her, hey, Cam, what's important to you?
Yeah.
Dad wants to be there for every dance recital, everything. I want to see your dance. To me is I love it. It's one of my coolest hobbies. I love it. How can I best support you? And doing that, it took the pressure off of me, because what was important to her was that I see the national showcase.
Yeah.
That was it.
I mean, would have been good to know, right?
It would have been good to know. Here I am driving 4 hours to show up to a place I'm not even wanted to, and rearranging a whole day.
It's so funny you say that. When I was a kid, my dad would be very busy and couldn't come to a lot of my meets. And when he would come, I would make him hide behind a pillar, because he would make me nervous, because I would want to okay, Dad's here, so I need to do something different than I normally did. He did not put those expectations on me whatsoever. That was self, and I think about that a lot with my kids, because Decker tried out for a travel baseball team last year and he didn't make it. I was so nervous. Oh my goodness, how am I going to tell him this? He was like, okay, I'll play lacrosse. I was like, oh, so this is a me problem, right? Okay, I'm putting this on you. I want this for you. And so, especially with very highly driven parents, it's hard to not put that on your kids. I struggle with that very often, of I told Decker the other day, if you never won another game in your life, I would still be proud of you if you gave 100%. He's like, seriously? Yeah, like, seriously, I would still be very proud of you, even if you never won another game. But that's hard for them to understand, because to them, it's like a win is good, a loss is bad. It's like, it's not that, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's a tough piece of parenting. Try to create the competitive attitude, like, because you want to win, but winning also isn't everything. Like, winning at all costs is a bad philosophy. And so it's really interesting. I have a question for you. I think that's maybe a slight deviation. And then I want to go, I think this question really begins my pursuit of understanding you deeper, and also trying to marry what the audience comes to the podcast for, which is to hear stories, but also to its personal development, to get better. So I kind of want to shift into, I think you have a good idea of your family dynamics, your business dynamics, and we can obviously continue to expand on that, but through the lens of personal development. And, people, as you know, and in the four walls of the gym, we're there to work on our physical fitness, number one, but that also can cascade over into emotional, mental, spiritual, even fitness. But here it's like the other way. It's like we want to focus on emotional fortitude and mental strength, and growing our character and our personality, and then taking that into the gym the other way, right? And so I would love to start that line of questioning by asking you mentioned something earlier around reading leadership books, and I wanted to circle back to that and ask you the question: who was Mel as a leader when you first became an owner of Ashburn, and then who is Mel now, and what are the leading indicators that helped you actually do that, rather than like, oh, I'm here now and then I'm here and like this was my transfer? Like, how, like break that down for us, be prescriptive in how you went from like old version of you to new version of you.
Okay, so I think me as a new leader, I had a chip on my shoulder, mostly because I, again, self put on my shoulder, possibly, but I wanted to do everything and be there for every single second of every single day. And I wanted to make sure that the members, because they all knew me as a member, then transitioning to the franchise partner, what was I going to do different? That I wasn't just there to be like, oh, yay, I own it. This is so fun. Yay. And so I think the chip was, I wanted to make sure that they saw me there all the time. I wanted to make sure that I had my hand in everything. And I would say now I want to empower my team to do that. Like, I think you heard just at Mark of Excellence when we talked about it, my team is what makes me the most proud, because I really have seen so much growth in my leadership specifically, but cascading all the way down of just they're now leaders within the gym versus me being the single leader. And I think that protects the business on a lot of different levels. But the growth of that is just also, as a super type A poodle personality who likes to have things a certain way, of there's not always one perfect way to do things, and putting the feedback into my staff and my team and my leadership team to give me feedback has been a really big differentiator between me as a leader then and now. It's hard to sometimes hear feedback, as we all know. Burn itself is a very feedback culture, feedback-driven culture. And I think when I do quarterly reviews with them, that their staff, that their team takes on them and that they take on me, we grow. Like, in my head, it's this metaphor of just like this, just every time. Even if that isn't, 100 more members in the gym or anything like that, it is just their sense of pride in our product. And I want every single person who works at Ashburn to feel like it is theirs. They are capable of making the correct decision. I will stand by their decision. We can maybe make a different decision next time and discuss that, but I 100% have faith in every single one of them to run the business without me there.
It sounds like you it's the classic sandwich technique. You ever heard of the sandwich technique?
No.
I learned this a long time ago, but it's kind of sounds like what you've done. You went in and you said, hey, let me let me get my hands on things. Let me understand what's going on here, and let me show you. Let me learn from you first, but then let me do it, and I'm gonna be here doing it with you, and then I'm gonna watch you do it, and then you're gonna kind of own it, and I'm gonna be here if you need
100%.
me to help, and you gradual release model to really empower people.
I get asked so often just what I can attribute some of the significantly quick, seemingly growth of Ashburn, and there was something that we wanted to take on, and I said, I will own it. I will be the one that owns this. I will train every staff member on this. I will make sure I will hold everyone accountable until we get there, so they know I'm not coming in to give you feedback. I'm coming in to get the feedback.
Sure.
And so I think that was the biggest major difference of now I have faith in them, and I want them to know that, and they do, and I tell them that very often. But I also know that we all want this. We all have the same goal. No one is there for their own self. They're there for the betterment of the members.
Well, you don't earn the Mark of Excellence Award unless that's the case.
Yeah.
Because to earn that award, that's the top 7 gyms. Well, only 7 gyms got it in the nation last year, and you were one of them out of over 400. And so in very rare air. But the reality is all the things that you're saying right now around leadership is the way that you get there, right?
Yeah.
By empowering other people, and by empowerment of other people in a business context, we're talking about blessing them with responsibility.
Yes.
So that they have the gift of holding themselves accountable.
Yep.
We talk about it all the time on the podcast, no matter what realm of life it's in. It's like the single best skill you can have is self-accountability. Nobody's allowed to hold you more accountable than yourself. That's your fundamental, it's like God, then that, right? That's the foundation. And
anything that I say out loud or put into any sort of communication to my staff, it is forcefully holds me accountable to that, right? Like it makes me say, okay, I said I'm getting this out on Monday. It's Monday at 4 p.m. I've cut myself short of time, but I said Monday. And the best way to build trust within your team, your members, your community is by delivering on that if you give it a specific timeline.
For sure. Yeah. So Chelsea's going to pull up a Mark of Excellence a video here. I wonder where. Let's see. All right. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. There it is. Go ahead. Play the Mark of Excellence video now.
Hi, guys. I'm Melanie Skinner, and I'm the franchise partner here at Burn Boot Camp in Ashburn, Virginia. The Mark of Excellence Award means so much to me and my family, and also to this community. We work really hard day in and day out to make sure that we're putting out a great product and impacting our local community. The team is so important and really
Well, you look great, Mel.
Thanks.
This was an amazing day.
This was so fun. It was the best day.
Yeah, it was a really good day. What did it mean to you having that day? Like, just sum it up. What did it mean to you?
I mean, I just was so proud that the team, it meant so much to the team, really. Like the team works hours and hours on these, day in, day out. They, we say all the time, we check it at the door because we all have things going on outside of these 4 walls too. But when we're in those 4 walls, we're responsible for making the days better of those members in the door inside of our gym. And I just was so proud of the risks we are willing to take because I always say I don't have the perfect formula, but I'm willing to try something. I'm willing for it not to work and willing to say, okay, I'm not doing that again, but I tried. You don't know what is going to work in your community. Every community has its own specific identity. Even gyms within 6-8 miles from each other are different. They are made up of different people. The trainers are different. Everything has their own, individuality. So I think, our community is the best. We've seen so many amazing transformations. You got to hear many of them when you were there. We've had members who were day 1 members about to celebrate 10 years as members at Ashburn, which is just an amazing feat, really, in and of itself. Because as we know with fitness, people, I heard John Metzger say it on the podcast that was just on, I watched yesterday, they may leave, but they always come back. you know?
Yeah.
Well, we have members also that haven't left, and that is insane. But we also have members that have gone and tried something else and say, oh, man.
The grass is not greener.
I underestimated it. You know, I underestimated what it was about.
Yeah. I mean, this is it's a really unique thing to watch unfold in front of us all, right? It's the same, because we'll stay on the thread of personal development, but the same need that you and I have. I obviously our careers Burn, right? But the same need that Burn gives to us on our own personal journey. Yep. In development. When I say personal journey, I mean like that in a cliche way. I mean like the development of your character over time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by like becoming the best version of yourself, self-actualization, the highest form of human need. And I would just love to hear your thoughts on the gym as because there is a dynamic, right? I'll context this for you. So there is a dynamic when you're a business owner of Burn and you're working in your business every day, and then you have to go, and then like taking care of yourself inevitably becomes like the last thing that you want to do, because then you do start working out, and then you see the chip on the wall or the what,
you're moving the afterburn
like,
canister to make sure it's centered. You know,
I know that you've gone through that before. I know that that's happened. And I would just be curious about what advice that you have to give to people on anchoring themselves in fitness. That's another concept we talk a lot about. It's like no matter what you're responsible for, anchor that day in your routine and your fitness and your health. Yeah,
I think it has to become a non-negotiable, really, truly. And I will hear people say to me often, it's so cool that you work out here. I'm like, why would I not work out here? Of course, I would never. I believe in this place so much. Not for me at first, it wasn't even the physical transformation like we talked about. It was the mental fortitude I needed to get back in the gym and just stick it out for 45 minutes. And, you know, I'll see new moms in the gym and I say, I was there once, and those 45 minutes, even if I felt like I gave 50%, was still better than, you know, listening to my kids screaming for 45 minutes. Like, it was nice to have that breakup. And so I think for me, I love to be in there to see the members. I also do, I'm not going to talk about your pickleball career, but, you know, tennis is better.
Well, it's debatable.
But I play tennis as well, because I do find that when I'm in the gym, I love working out there. Like, I worked out with you earlier today at Lake Norman, but our ultimate brain goes to like, oh, does someone need another, you know, does someone need this BOSU? I don't want to use the BOSU ball because like, I want to make sure a member gets it, you know, and so, but I will say I look at the business from a member standpoint first and foremost. Absolutely. Being a previous member, I see it from that point of view always. And so when I'm giving feedback to the trainers, when we're working through workouts, when we're talking about events that are coming up, it's ultimately, what are the members going to think? How are the members going to feel? Are they going to feel empowered? And, you know, we get the conversation all the time about, I'm not in good shape. I'm not going to be able to make it, you know, through camp. I'm nervous. I don't want people looking at me. And I said, this is one of the only places in the world where it can be you versus you for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. You do not, no one is focusing on you, because we're all just trying to make ourselves tiny, tiny, tiny bit better. And it's hard to recognize that sometimes when you have been in other fitness spaces where you didn't feel that way, where it did feel like a competitive, like, okay, I'm lifting heavier than they are, or are they looking at me because I'm not lifting heavy enough? Mm-hmm. And that has never once been a principle of Burn. And that's what makes us so very unique, because we all want to just level ourselves up instead of just, and each other up, instead of just caring about myself.
How much of that need as a leader to lead by action and level yourself up is partly responsible for you and in your current state of health, do you think? Like, does that question make sense? Like,
yeah.
How much of
a lot
your
of
health is like motivated by other people looking at you?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it. I not even just leading by example of, okay, I don't want to pick up the 45s today on chest press, but like my friend over here, you know, I'm sitting by someone who's doing it. Okay, I'm going to do it, because I want them to see, like, I'm not afraid to fail and try a chest press and dump the weights after 2, because I tried, right. You know, and my saying has always been, I've lived by this since I was a child: do something every day that scares you. And in the gym, we do things that are terrifying sometimes, a double under, you're trying a box jump, you're lifting a heavier weight. We're constantly, as a former gymnast, trying to undo the brainwashing I had as a child or kid or teenager, even early 20s, of like, I don't want to lift heavy because I'm going to get bulky. I literally lived by that for many years. And I would say I'm lifting heavier than I've ever been. And I'm don't feel that way about it. And it's just overcoming all of those little things that we have in our brain that are going through our brain 45 minutes. But truly, leading by example is the best thing I can tell anyone when you're a leader. If you're not willing to do it, you shouldn't be asking anyone else to do it.
I asked John this question too, and Rebecca, and I'd like to pose it to you because I think everybody has a little different perspective. There's, like you said, Burn is a brand, but the brand, which has its own kind of living and breathing identity, also then has been owned by people who also have their own creative. So the brand has throughputs, but then each individual location kind of has its own flavor, its own, because of the people. And so, largely that's the team members are a reflection of the franchise partner, and the membership is a reflection of both the team members and the franchise partner. So I'm just really interested in your response to the following question. How much does your own personal nutrition, do you think, influences the nutrition of your team and your members?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Let me give you a little bit more time to think, because there's an observation that came behind that.
Okay.
As I go, and I have zero data to just, this is we're
just going off guts
here.
We're just going off gut
I'm
feelings.
going off literal observation.
Okay.
When I see when I go into gyms for the Proud Tour, one thing that I've noticed is exactly what you were saying. Every burn's a little bit different. I started asking myself, well, why? Well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? And I started noticing that the attitude, the temperament, the bubbliness, the willingness to pick up heavy weights or not, the willingness to push yourself in conditioning or not, the willingness to get up on that pull-up bar and not modify when you don't have to or not.
Yeah.
All of these things, I started to notice that they're a reflection of the franchise partner. It's either I noticed it and it's true, or I have confirmation bias and I wanted it to be true. So then I saw what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will say my trainers, we have 9 trainers, and they are just, all of them are beasts in the gym. They work out every single day. I just did a calculation. Almost every single one of them has hit 50 camps already for the year. So they're tracking and they're doing great. And I personally think that's where the personality of Ashburn comes from, is because they see our trainers and they're working out side by side with them every single day, struggling, form failure. Beasley got me today on those sumo jump squat, whatever. I was like, my legs aren't working. She's like, we can't film this. I was like, I know, because my legs aren't working, as you murdered them in the beginning. But I think having that piece where the trainers do truly set the tone, but I have heard them say before, which I think is I guess I love it. But they'll say we're nervous when you're in camp. When I take camp, or I'm because I usually stand right in the front. So that's, right. I'm not hiding in the back, but oh, I just want to make you proud. And that's how I feel about them too. I want the business to make them proud. So that's where we're all working to level the business up, because they want to have an amazing camp and hit all their marks for our checklists and everything like that. And I think that's where the personality, specifically, Treadway started Ashburn off on that foot, no doubt. And then, we've had our head trainer, our lead trainer there has been there 8 years, 7, 8 years. And so that ribbon is just felt through the community, So I don't know which came first, if they eat healthy. So I like to eat healthy and take care of myself and make sure I eat my protein.
But you would say that there's a correlation between your level of engaging with the product and your level of engaging with focus meetings and nutrition and fitness and recovery, and your level of engagement. cascading to your team's level of engagement, which ultimately is a
Yes.
mirror reflected by the membership. You think that's
Yes.
a true statement?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I don't have confirmation
Maybe-
bias.
Maybe we need the data.
Maybe I
can
do.
be a first
maybe
data point.
maybe I do. You know me. I'm a big fan of having like 60% of the data and then using their intuition to make the decision.
I'm a big gut person.
Yeah.
Like, and that's one thing that has very much changed as a leader. I would say previously black and white personality more. And when you get into business, you understand like you can't do that all the time. There is a lot of gray and you do have to bend.
Yeah.
You can't bend all the time.
Right.
You want to sometimes,
Right.
but
Well, let's talk about that because I think people first is one of our core values. It's the fundamental core value that makes up the brand, whether it's a member or a team, no matter what. Like it's a core value of a human. So if you are good at this business and you like to be a member, then you probably have people first in like the front of your mind.
Yeah.
You love people and you love to be around people and you want to be a part of a community. You want to belong somewhere that's bigger than you. And I think there's this dynamic between nice and kind that happens in the gym. And we as maybe trainers or franchise partners, we want to be so kind and so nice, rather, let me separate the two. We want to be so nice to everybody that sometimes we forget that being too nice limits their potential. And like you had a gymnastics coach. Did you let me be very bifurcated. Did you love or did you hate your gymnastics coach?
I mean,
one or the other.
I hated more than I loved.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Do you respect that person?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's exactly the dynamic
Yeah.
that you want if you want to grow in your life, right?
Yeah.
You want that culture where people first doesn't mean, hey, you get everything that you want all the time. What it means is that because you're a person, because I love you so much, because I refuse to let you fail, I'm going to demand more out of you than anybody else is willing to demand out of you. You might hate me in the moment for it, but you will respect me in the long run because I don't care if you like me or not, but you will have respect for me because I will be a part of your story, making you better.
Yeah.
And you're going to look back and be like, dang, like some of my team members are like this. They're like, dang, he's a son of a bitch. But he's my SOB.
Yeah, but I love him.
He's mine because without him, I don't have that extra.
Yeah.
I don't have that extra push in my life. It's almost like you see a football player score a touchdown. You know that they have a great respect for their coach because the first thing they do, they don't spike the ball in the end zone. What do they do?
Walk it over to
They go give it to their head coach and they give it to him, right? And it's like, you just yelled at me all week.
Yeah. Now here.
Yeah.
Like, let me show you too. You know, I mean,
it's like, here, stop yell at me now, right? Like, so there is some tension in a way that levels both people up.
Yep. And it's a really interesting dichotomy of that in the gym because so many potential members or current members, they come into the gym and they want to get better, but they're comfy, and to get better, you have to be really uncomfy. And that's so hard to explain to people. Like, I know you don't want to try this, but this is how you get better outside of the gym as well, because it is not just what we are doing in the gym. It translates to our whole life. You now all of a sudden you're feel comfortable and confident to ask for a raise because you're like, you know what, I can do this. I'm going to do it, and that's where a lot of people have the blinders on of, oh, it's just a weight. It's just a pull up. It's just a band. It's just, it's not just those things because doing those things and putting yourself in uncomfortable positions often gets you better.
That was very well said. That's beautifully said. It's so true. And it's so true. And when as we have this dialogue, there's this level of personal accountability that we need to take. But what I've noticed, and tell me if you've noticed this too, what I've noticed is that our trainers a lot of times, there's almost a prerequisite to self-accountability. It's like, can somebody believe in me?
Yeah.
How often do you think that a average person gets asked the question in a year's time frame, what do you want out of your life? What's your vision and why? And explain to me everything that you want.
Yeah.
Probably never.
Probably never. Yeah. If you ask 100 people, maybe like 2 of them,
right.
If that, and that's why those focus meetings are so huge because I think there's a really big misconception of the focus meeting is just like, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's
Right.
like, no,
Right.
we want you to get better. What does that look like for you? What is better to you?
Right.
Is that you are running yourself ragged? You're not making time for yourself. You're not showing up for yourself when you're breaking promises to yourself, right? And those focus meetings, I get to see all the notes that our trainers take of them. And I love being there because then when I go into the gym, I can see, oh, okay, I want to push her a little more on the floor when I'm working out next to her. Or I want to ask her how her job's going because I see that was some of the conversation, right? And that is where Burn just levels up so much because there is truly that care and concern from the trainer of, I don't want to make you do a pull-up. I want you to want to do a pull-up, and how do we get there? And that's a big difference of the trainer putting it on themselves, like we talked about our kids, like us just pushing it onto them and them coming to us and saying, I want to do something hard for myself.
It's like you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. So how do you get them to do it? How do you get someone, because our main goal here is self-accountability. Because if I can get you to take accountability for yourself when no one's watching you, well, then I know that you're going to be able to fight off, the demons as you forge through life and fend for yourself, and you can do it, right?
Yeah. Which we all have.
Yeah.
And all deal with.
We all have that capability.
Yeah.
And the self-accountability piece, oftentimes we don't get people there because there's this notion of like, do you just do it yourself? You can do it, bear down and do it. It's like, okay, I get that, but I come from the home that's completely broken where there isn't even a shed of the encouragement to begin with. So what makes Burn magic, love to hear your thoughts on this, is that our trainers are in those focus meetings are plant the seedlings for that. Like it is that encouragement that you're not getting in the four walls of your house actually is free and readily available and by the dozen at Burn in a focus meeting. And you see some, like I just recall thousands and thousands just in that instance of people that their eyes kind of light up when you just give them that little bit of encouragement. And they're like, oh my goodness, that's what encouragement is. And that's all it, like high fives are free. And I don't get it. It's so hard for me to understand the mindset of a person that won't give the people around them in their life that
it's like,
love
you see, I really try when I'm at every camp I'm at to make sure I say 5 like personal things to 5 different members. Like, hey, that color looks amazing on you, because people don't walk by each other on the street anymore and say like, hey, your hair looks great, right?
Right.
And it can be one of those tiny little things that just change your day over. Like, you know what? Thanks. It does look great.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's like what you're saying. It's the encouragement. We weren't all given that growing up, and it's never too late to start getting it, because when you get it, you give it.
Yeah, and then you can start changing your life. Like that's the momentum starter.
Yeah.
It's that little push that somebody needs. Like, oh, well, they think I'm great.
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
And how many times do we hear from members? I know specifically we have a member, Diana, who was on our panel at Mark of Excellence, and she said, I just never thought in my life that I would be accomplishing these things. And it gives me goosebumps just hearing it, because how amazing that we're able to give them something like that.
What episode was that, Chelsea, for the panel at Ashburn, the Mark of Excellence panel? This is something I think everybody can really tap into.
Yeah.
So we had Diana and then a handful of other members on the panel, and it was just it was all the goodness of Ashburn wrapped up into one podcast. So we actually have a podcast. What number was that, Chelsea? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all of us, like members, I remember sitting by Morgan, all of us just had tears in our eyes. And there's millions of stories like that from Burn, because that is what 45 minutes can do for you. And in holding yourself, like we say, holding yourself accountable, but you're making promises to yourself. And once you start proving to yourself, like, okay, I said I was going to do 5 camps this week and I did it, I'm really proud.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can do 6 next week, or I'm going to keep doing 5, whatever it is. Those also regain your trust in yourself too.
What episode was it? Episode 29.
Lucky number 29.
That was back in December.
Yeah, and I mean the gym, what makes, from my perspective, what makes Ashburn so special is that if you look at all 9 of our trainers, every single one of them, like, there's a wide range. You've got some that are here, some that are here. And there is a trainer for everyone. You know, there is someone who says, I prefer this trainer. I love her energy. I love her music. I love her this. We have a PT on staff. So she's like form perfection, Mandy. And there's just fun things like that, that when you can spread the wealth among your trainers and have every one of them bring something else to the table, they level everyone up. And we always say, like, our iron sharpens iron. And so when we take camps, we get feedback. We want you to be the best trainer, not because I want to have the best trainers, but because our members deserve to be being pushed and leveled up every single camp they're in the door.
So we are growing. You're a big part of that. You're leading the way. Thank you so much. I'll give you flowers where flowers are due. And you have stepped into this organization and just absolutely hit a home run. You were, like, in a sense, made for it.
Thank you.
Your personality, your leadership style, your unique ability to see the good in people or the God in people. Like, every time I see you interact with somebody, I always watch the other person because I know you really well and I know how, just naturally, like, happy and bubbly you are, and, like, always. I'm sure it's like not that, like that all the time.
Don't
like,
tell Aaron.
Yeah, ask Aaron. But when you are in a setting in which, hey, Mel is on right now.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't at home. Like, when you're allowed to have these, you're in public settings, and people across from you, when they get to meet you, they light up, and you really are able to, like, transfer your energy to other people, which is really amazing to see.
Thank you.
And we both grown together through this, but me watching your growth and seeing you where you're at today to where you're at now, it's like, it's a really
Like,
you were good when you came in. So.
Well, you came to Ashburn in October. I had not owned the gym, but it was announced that I was buying it, and we were there for you were there for regional training. And I remember we were working out. I texted to you a couple months ago, and you said into your Instagram, you were doing, like, a little selfie video, and you're like, remember this name, and I took that to heart, like, okay, Devan says, so I gotta go be doing things. You're
like my little accountability slide into
exactly.
there.
I'm like, all right, he's gonna make
you were
me.
listening. I knew you were listening. So as we do grow and as you do lead the charge, Burn is becoming a hotter commodity. People are starting to know about it. It's really cool for me. Hopefully it's cool for you too.
Love it.
What advice would you give to maybe a new franchise partner coming in that is listening to this right now? We had a handful just in the last month join the squad. So
I love to see all the growth. I love to see all the new franchise partners. I get a really fun opportunity of speaking to a lot of people prior to them signing their, signing on to be a franchise partner. And I love to just hear, you can hear the love of people's voice of Burn and people's voices before they even, want to open. This is such a huge leap of faith, and there's no P&L or numbers or anything that we can tell you all the time, because Burn is a community at its heart. And so the P&L can line up and everything will look great, but you have to have the just pure love of the brand and belief in the brand, and just what'd you call it? Sandwich method? Sandwich technique?
Yeah.
Like, be willing to do the hard work. Like, be willing to put in the hours on the front end, because then you're going to get good staff and good team members who see, like, I know that even though, it's not always said or seen, like, I know that my team knows how much work I put into the gym. Mm-hmm. And I know that I tell them very often how much work they're putting in to help us. And I think just being a very vocal leader, a very responsible leader to them is really important. And building, like, not shortchanging yourself. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell the brand short. Lead from the front. Really lead from the front, especially as a new location and a new franchise partner, because there's a lot to learn. It can feel like you're drinking from the fire hose, just constant information in and out. And it still some days feels like that in the best way, because when those days come where it doesn't feel that way, I'm like, all right, what are we doing?
Are we stopping? What's going on? It's not as fast. So lightning round, and then I'm going to let you end with some more personal kind of insights and personal impact questions. But lightning round, because I think that it's just fun for your members and your staff to hear your favorite Burn protocol. What's number one? What's first? What's last?
Oh, favorite Metcon.
Metcon,
Last is lower body.
lower body.
Mhm.
Yeah, any elaboration? Any reason why
No.
Metcon?
I am starving afterwards for like the entire day. I feel like I get my best meals after Metcon because I've burned so many calories. But I just love to move fast, but also lift weights at the same time. Like it's a good mixture for me.
Pull up PR. What's your pull up
Oh.
PR? I know that's a tough one because pull ups are one, but I'm putting pull ups at the center of everything. 'Cause I
Okay.
want everybody to get better at them. I think you should be able to do one. Everybody listening, if you can't yet, you should be able to do one pull up in the next year.
Yeah.
You're all capable of doing that.
It just takes a lot of work. I would
What's
say
yours?
currently right now, when I was, younger, I could crush them. But right now, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 7. Protein wars. Chocolate or vanilla? What team are you
so I am not typically a chocolate girl.
Okay.
But I like our chocolate after
on?
breakfast.
You try cinnamon roll?
It's so good.
Wee.
Wow.
Does it bring back like cinnamon toast
It does.
crunch vibes for you?
It reminds me of the milk in the bottom of like a cinnamon toast crunch cereal bowl that you used to like,
Yeah. Without the hint of like cancer.
Yeah.
Like,
without the
along with it.
artificial,
Yeah.
like,
Where at the end you're
colors,
like,
you're like,
that can't be normal. So
there's like a film inside my mouth now after that.
Yeah. we got the
so-
like natural version
Yeah.
of that.
yeah, I never had the iced. What was it called?
Iced cinnamon.
Yeah, I never had that because
It was cinnamon toast crunch-esque as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as good though. This
Yeah.
is why we sunsetted and went with.
Oh man.
So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, back in the day when we were still a parking lot gym and didn't have any brick and mortars, we started Afterburn,
Yep.
Burn Nutrition, and the first product was called
Yeah, there's
Iced. Pull
there
that
it
over.
is.
Called Iced
Yeah.
Cinnamon, and I have a post on my Instagram about it. There's the Iced Cinnamon Tower. I don't know why I have a random yellow. It's probably all.
I mean,
had.
it's like changed, but our graphics have vastly improved. But look, the canisters still look very similar. Like
Yeah.
the cinnamon roll is a big hit for us.
Somebody commented on this photo and they said, I can't even count how many, all the things that are nostalgic in this. You have the Afterburn very first canister. You've got our burnout tees in there. I don't even know if you, so Treadway who started,
Yeah.
so everybody knows Treadway.
Yeah, I
that
mean, if
listens
you're
to the
on
podcast or on
demand
demand.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
So give her flowers too. Cause you
Yes.
guys said, really tag team getting that location to where it's at today. She remembers the burnout tees from back in the day. All we used to sell was like burnout tees. There's the Mama Burst DVDs. If you zoom in on this, the very first
I saw
DVDs
your
up
post
there.
the other day, and I have never seen that video. The picture, yeah.
This one right
Oh
here.
my goodness.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
Literally so good.
It's a bias toward action. Like I was just like, we need to do stuff. Like I don't know. Morgan's like, you know how to make a DVD? I'm like, I'm the last person you should ask. to
What do
make
you
a
use, like
DVD.
LimeWire? Like, it's like back when you were just illegally downloading music.
Illegally downloading music, yeah, copyright infringements probably all over the place. But
Oh
at the
my
end of
goodness.
it
And
says Morgan
15
Stevens
minutes.
on it.
I know. I noticed that was the first thing. And like the 15 minutes for
Just 15 minutes.
just 15 minutes.
5 days per week.
Yeah.
Solves all your problems.
Voila. Whoop shoo.
Yeah, so a couple more lightning rounds for you. Most memorable moment, just pick whatever one. What most memorable moment in the last handful of years that's happened in the gym? You see somebody do something, everybody goes crazy. It's a PR, it's a moment. Somebody hits a box jump for the first time. The whole what is that moment? Do you have one of those that sticks out to you?
Oh, I have quite a few.
Give me just one. Give me your best one.
I would say I just saw one of my best friend's husbands chest pressing hundreds.
Woo.
And that was pretty awesome. Like it was a Saturday, it was bumping in there, it was awesome. So yeah, that's what I would say.
What do you think about our new Kevin Hart partnership and Amiko
Oh.
Hart?
Well, I'm just like wondering when he's going to come to an FAC meeting mostly.
It's going to show up tomorrow.
But, yeah,
Strolling in.
it's so exciting. And we've been talking about it, quietly for a while. And I'm just so proud of how much work and research went into it from HQ's end to making sure it was the correct partnership for the brand. I think that was something we talked a lot about. And it was not a rush and just like randomly hodgepodge pick someone. There's true intent behind it. And he really believes in the brand and what we're doing. And so I just love to see it. And can't wait to see where he takes it.
Yeah, we just made our announcement, as everyone knows, not too long ago, and we'll be opening up his gym later this year. And you'll be seeing a lot more of him in between as he helps represent our brand from a both membership perspective, franchise development perspective, and is truly an executive partner to Morgan and I.
Yeah, I want to see him in a camp because I can imagine it's like so fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, just funny and light-hearted, but also working hard.
Yeah.
But just, I've heard really amazing things. I know when he came to Lake Norman, everyone just had amazing feedback.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. And he's just like, I've known him now for 2 years, and just like, he looked at me and he goes, hey, I'm a hustler. I'm an entrepreneur. I love what you guys are doing. I've had hours of conversations with my people, and like, let's go. I'm all in. And he's like, if you have any hesitations around, like, don't do it, because I want this to be something that is, we're kind of all in on. And so this picture here is of Morgan, him and I. Nico's kind of at the table to the right of us, Kevin's wife. But we were all hanging out, and I looked at him at one point during this evening as we were having a conversation about what the partnership could look like. And, I said, hey, this is going to be the biggest and the best partnership you've ever gotten yourself into. And, which, I think reinforced to him that he's, here playing with, made the right selection, and, we're not going to.
Yeah, I'm excited to just see him also stepping into the role of like knowing what we all go through too as franchise partners, right? Yeah. So that's going to be really fun to see how that goes too.
Yeah, opening later this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me end on some more personal impacting questions, because I want to you're such a emotionally, how would I say, intelligent person.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were just going to say emotional.
No. Well, the capacity to be emotional, and then the restraint of that, or the regulation of that, is, you have to first realize how dangerous you could be in order to have any virtue to tame, the danger. So you have to be emotional in order to have emotional regulation. And that's what adds the spice of life. And so I wanted to tap into that with you, and just ask you some kind of a couple open-ended questions here to round up the podcast. So you can kind of use this as a time to make an address to everybody, like from Mel's heart to Burn Nation's heart. It's, what I think a good question to ask would be, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of? What, if you could just kind of bring everything together?
So this is probably an interesting thing to say, but I think I'm most proud of myself. I'm most proud of like the work I've done to learn lessons, sometimes in a hard way. I've learned to sometimes sit on things because, like you said, it's hard to sometimes not react to things. And I've learned to like, okay, I'm not going to respond to that for 12 to 18 hours so that I probably will have the same response in a different tone. And so I'm proud of taking a leap of faith because it's scary. It was very scary. It's still scary. We have a lot of changes going on, and other businesses coming and all of these other things going on. And it's never not scary, but I'm proud of looking back on kind of how far I've come in maybe the last, I'll be 40 in a couple months, 20 years, really. So I'm proud of myself and the balancing act of motherhood and, being a wife and being a business owner and being a leader and also trying to be true to myself. And that's something my mom has instilled in me forever, is like, be true to you. And it's hard. It's harder now, I think, than it was 15, 20 years ago. Social media has changed things and everyone's opinions, and it's hard not to allow those things to really get at you. As I know you are, being such a public-facing person, it's a really hard pill to swallow. I want everyone to like me, but I also want to be true to myself. And at the end of the day, I want to be able to sleep with myself, happy with myself at night. And so sometimes that means not everyone's going to like me. Yeah.
Morgan and I call that the family force field. Just us and our immediate family.
Yeah.
Us 5.
Yeah.
Our 2 dogs are allowed in.
Oh,
but that's
okay,
it.
good.
No one else.
They're cute.
Yeah, they're cute. They're allowed in, and that's who you're making decisions for.
Yeah. And Morgan is a amazing. As a mom and business owner, having Morgan be the CEO of this company, it has really instilled so much in a lot of franchise partners are women, and we do deal with the mom guilt and the things like that. And we see Morgan leading from the front, doing the work. She's out there. She has to be away from your kids sometimes too, just as we do. And she's learning lessons along the way. We all are. And I think having her in that role is so important to me. I love to see it. And I love to see just her growth too over the last few years.
I think between you and her, you guys and Holly, at this point, the top 3 gyms in the country, you guys could write a book on what it means to chase your dreams and also raise your family and not have that societally placed ultimatum in there. And so
it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be if that's what you want. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with, I absolutely adored my time being a stay-at-home mom. I know people who just don't have the itch to have kids, and there is no right or wrong. It's just there is space for all of those things. There is space for all 3.
So that's the female version of that ultimatum problem. Do you know what the male version is? It's a little bit different, but it's still the same kind of societal ultimatum.
I mean, I do think there's a lot more expected of fathers today.
It's the build the business versus build the body.
Yeah. Oh.
That's it. You look at how many go out there and ask.
That's where you guys feel the pull. Yeah.
One of 2 pathways.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, just take everybody, all the executives at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all the big banking in Uptown Charlotte here, and you line all of them up, right? They're generally speaking not going to work out, not going to be strong.
Yeah, because they have,
and they focused on that, and that's one thing that I hope to influence and inspire people with is that same flywheel, that the body, it creates the business, and the business creates the body, and the energy creates the emotion, and you need emotional intelligence to be good at business, and it all is one and the same. And I just think whether you're male or female, it's a little different perspective, but it's the same. It's the same ultimatum.
Yeah, and even if it's
you're breaking that down,
not even said, it's just felt, right? Yeah. I don't think it's specifically, especially as my mom was a stay-at-home mom for most of our childhood, and then I loved, she kind of had a similar path to me. She went back and started being a college professor where my dad was, different universities. And I'm like, okay, I see a lot of that, she had that too. She loved being a stay-at-home mom, but then she liked to balance it out. And the societal pressure is always going to be there. We're always going to have people that don't agree with us, don't like us, don't understand us, can't understand why we do the things and say the things we do. But, we're all individuals, and we have to be true to ourselves and be able to sleep with our decisions at night.
Somebody's once told me that, all the things you just mentioned, and then they would say, and none of that has anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of my favorite punchlines is let them talk, let them say this, okay? Said it in Stage at Summit, fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's more of reflection of them and how they feel about themselves than you, but easier said than done a lot.
All right, so we're going to wrap up because I know we're both busy and everybody has to get on with their day. Thank you guys for being here.
They don't want to stay here for 3 more hours.
I think we would probably, but also I'm preaching let's be productive, let's get in, let's get out, and let's get on with your day. I know you guys have a lot of stuff to do. So Mel, let's finish with one piece of advice for Burn Nation. If you were to say, a 2-minute little speech right from your heart, give me just what comes to your mind. Don't think too hard about it.
I think what comes to my mind is just to prioritize your time and prioritize yourself in that time, making sure that you plan. I'm a huge planner, plan ahead, make sure you're taking time out of your day for your workout, your time out of your day for your fun, your time out of your day for your reading, your time out of the day for me in the mornings with my Bible, certain things like that. And just make sure that you're being fair to yourself in all ways throughout your day.
Melanie Skinner, everybody, Mark of Excellence Award winner. One of the largest franchise partners in Burn Nation, an incredible leader. We're so happy and proud to have you as a part of the organization. You could be anywhere, but you're here with us. And for that, we're forever grateful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And to everybody that's listening in, we have lots of franchise partner interviews on the pod. So hit up the YouTube list. Start watching all of those different episodes. You can binge watch this one next right here because I know you're not done educating yourself for the day. But we got to go. We'll see you guys next time. Keep moving, everybody. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.